Good afternoon, I'm Jeff. I'm a sewer tech Northwest. Today we're at 2975 Southwest Montgomery Drive here in Portland, Oregon. We're located in the basement. We've got a 4-inch cast iron clean out here. This will be the point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. It does appear that we have standing water immediately upon access. It looks like we do have a tub downstairs running on about medium flow, and there's about an inch and a half of standing water sitting here with the water turned on currently. I'm going to zero out the camera counter right here. Okay, we have a transition here that looks like to 6-inch concrete pipe at 10 feet out. I'm going to keep the camera head moving pretty quick here so we can get it as far out as possible. Okay, here at 98 feet, I'm having a lot of difficulty advancing past this point. This looks like the extent of where I'm going to be able to scope to. I'm going to get the water shut off and let it drain out here for a few minutes before pulling back so we have a clearer picture of the line. But throughout the entire sewer line so far, there's been very few spots where the line is actually draining out properly. It mostly looks like this with standing water everywhere. This is also, because of the size of the home, it's very large. They have looks like 2 main lines at least for this house that go out and converge at a certain point. This line was scoped here I think it was about a year ago, and finding access to that second part of the line was very tricky. But I know that they do converge out at the front of the property, and the way that they connect together, if I remember correctly, was kind of strange. There's no Y connections. There's just a pipe running through the sidewall and just dumping right into a pipe, rather than having a smooth Y connection or something like that. Alright, I went and located the camera head while the line was draining out here. I think most of the water is now drained out of it at this point. Where I located the camera head is about 40-50 feet down the street. The line heads out to southeast Montgomery. And again, we've had the water turned off here for about 5-6 minutes, so the majority of it should be drained out. And we do have standing water out here with the line or the water shut off. We're looking at about, probably about 1.5 to 2 inches of standing water there. As I'm pulling back here, I just want to point out that I still haven't found a spot so far, at least coming back from 98 feet, where there's not some standing water. The majority of it is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of standing water. Once it goes up over the top of the camera head, it's hard to gauge the depth at that point, but there's quite a lot of it in here. Okay, here is this, I mentioned earlier about how this pipe ties on here. There's another line that's visible from a little crawl space hatch in the basement, or the part of the basement I'm in right now, and you can see where the line comes and dives into the ground, and then it heads out from there, and they connect together at this point. So yeah, everything from this point back towards the house, and this is the other spot. You can see where water is draining down from the side of the pipe there. On the other side of the that line, there's water trickling down. So there's another tie-in there, but the issue is that it's very difficult, if at all impossible, to get access to that part of the sewer pipe. The crawl space is so small that I can't get camera equipment in there, and I don't see a visible clean out to go from. So this is one of those jobs where it's best referred off to a repair company so that they can come up with a repair solution here for all the different types of pipe, because I'm really only able to scope from about here out to the street, and there's a whole nother line in this home that ties on there at that point. So it does transition here at 33 feet over to this looks like 6-inch concrete. The pipe it's tying into here almost looks bigger than that. So the other thing that's important to do, actually that water that's pouring down there, I don't know if that's coming in from a tie-in or if there's possibly a joint that's separated and allowing water to seep in. I can't see the top of the pipe there to see if that's a tie-in or not. But this pipe here, it looks significantly bigger than the pipe I'm going through right now. At least that's how it appears. It's hard to gauge the diameter at a transition point like this, but it's worth checking with the city to ensure that this isn't like a main lateral connection here or something. This could very possibly be just 6-inch pipe, but it's the way it hooks on here. It does look bigger than that. That usually indicates that you've hit something like a main lateral or something of that nature. So I'm going to keep reeling back here. And you're seeing big things of debris build up like this. It's because there's not adequate flow through the line here. And I see water draining right here. It doesn't really want to move past this point. This is a spot where I would not be surprised if the water is actually leaking right out through this joint here. The way that it looks is like this pipe has possibly settled quite a bit, or it's transitioning to a bigger diameter pipe here. But you can see the water is trickling over the edge there, and then from that point you don't see anything draining past beyond the camera. So it does look like there's a leak here at 27 feet out. We've got more standing water here in this part of the concrete. I push back out here a little ways to this connection. I'm going to go ahead and locate and see where this is exactly. I don't know. I can't really hear any other water running in the house. There is just a constant trickle of water coming down from there. And the last time we were out to scope this, the same thing was going on, just water constantly trickling through there. So unfortunately, without being able to see a tie-in or anything, it could be a tie-in from a rain drain. It could be that this is a main lateral here or an easement, and that's another home hooking up to it. Or it could be a joint that's separated, and there could be water seeping in from the outside, possibly through like a broken water main or something like that. Okay, I went and located here at 33 feet, and this does appear to be the main lateral. I found a white T marking out there that's likely from the city, so I just relocated, and my marking's off of theirs by a little bit. I don't know if they actually located or went based on just a plot map or something like that, but they're very close together, only about 1.5 feet apart, but we're right around 10-11 feet deep here. So it does appear that this is where the line terminates at. The other tricky part here is I don't know where the other main line of the house is going to or tying in at, and so that's kind of in question. I'm not able to put a camera through that part of the line, and that's easier to understand when you're here and see that line inside the little crawl space hatch in this room. But that does appear that everything beyond this point, at least the way it looks, is actually the city's issue. So the line actually terminates here only about 40 feet out. I'm going to turn some water on here and see if I can see if the water continues past this point. Yeah. You can see here, it's kind of gross, but in that debris buildup there's a bunch of worms crawling around. And the only way you get worms into the sewer line is when the joints are separated and open to the ground. Now we do have some water turned on right now. I'm hoping we can see it flow past the camera here in just a moment. We've got water running. I just did a toilet flush there just a moment ago. Still not really seeing any water moving past the camera here like I'd like to see. Okay, it looks like the sink is now caught up. Again, there's a bunch of standing water. It looks like under the crawl or under the floor, which is slowing down the water flow quite a bit. Normally, when you do a toilet flush, that thing will go shooting past the camera in about 5 seconds flat. And with the water now running past my camera, we can clearly see here that no water is advancing past this joint. It is draining out of the sewer pipe, which is why there's a whole bunch of debris just beyond this point here. It looks like once there's enough water in there, you can see now that it's starting to pool up because it's not draining out through the joint as quickly. So some water is getting past that, but it looks like a lot of it, especially anything slow moving, which is pretty much all the water in this house right now, is draining out through that joint. So I'll go ahead and try and locate this spot here as well. And I'll mark this with a white X. Okay, I did a set of locates here at the joint that's allowing most of the water to leak right out. And we're about 2-3 feet out into the street at this point on Montgomery. And because this is Multnomah County, this should be the city's responsibility to take care of. Now, I did mark it with a white X about 10 feet deep here, and I recommend contacting the city or submitting the video to them so that they are aware of the issue there. It's pretty serious, but the water can't move beyond that point, so that's why you're getting big chunks of debris build up beyond that. And then throughout this section of the line leading out, we've still got standing water. There's about an inch of standing water here. Now what I can do is map out this part of the sewer line, but again I want to reiterate that there is another line that I can see in this house that I don't have access to. And so I don't know what all the house is actually draining through that other portion of the line. But basically from the cast iron transition here at 10 feet out to 40 feet where the main lateral is, I do recommend replacing it as it's in very rough shape. All the pipe here has standing water in it, about an inch or so. And when I pull back here, you can see that the joints are separating there. So it's just in rough shape, and in my opinion, it's time for an update on this sewer line. I'm going to do a couple other markings. I'll mark the about halfway point here at 20 feet, and then I'll do another marking at the cast iron transition. And then from there, the repair guys will have to probably do some scoping to figure out how much of the line needs to be replaced. Because there's that whole other main line, and again, that's a little crawl space hatch that's in the room with this clean out that I'm going through. And then there's also standing water underneath the floor. The clean out itself, there, right at the base, there's about 1.5 inches. So my recommendation here, due to the age of this home and how much settling and damage has occurred, I recommend replacing the sewer line, even the drains underneath the floor, because there's a bunch of standing water in it. And especially when you've got cast iron pipe combined with standing water to the point where it's filling up the pipe to about 40-50% of water, it's very, very easy for debris to get hung up. And that's a combination of the cast iron pipe being very rough, it snags debris easily, and then the standing water slowing everything down. So I'm going to go do a marking here, just a line showing the direction the pipe runs, and then I'll do a white T at the transition from cast iron to concrete. I'm actually going to keep coming back. I did do a marking. It's out in the street at 27 feet, so I'm just doing another marking. My last one will be here at the transition from cast iron. And unfortunately, because there's a lot of grade loss, pipe sleeving in this situation would not work. Traditional excavation or boring will probably be the best option to replace. And then again, it's probably going to take some repair guys some due diligence to figure out how much of the drains underneath the floor need to be replaced. But just based on the clean out and how slow the water gets to that point, there's likely a lot of standing water throughout the drains. There's a lot of visible settling in the house, big foundation cracks, so it looks like the house has settled quite a bit. Alright, I've tried relocating here. I pushed the camera around while the monitor was paused here a few feet back and forth, and I am having a very difficult time picking up the camera head here at this point. So I see a little white flag out in the front yard. I'm not sure if that's somebody else's locates for the transition. It's right about where I would expect it to be, but I cannot get any sort of accurate signal there to confirm that. So it will require relocates to find the transition point here. Again, so from this point here at 10 feet all the way out to the connection, I recommend be replaced due to the amount of damage there is to the line. Lots of standing water, separated joints, and then a joint at 27 feet that's allowing pretty much all the water to leak right out of the sewer pipe, at least the water that's running through this part of the sewer. I'm going to go ahead and reel the camera all the way back out here. You can see when we're in the cast iron pipe, there is, we've got standing water, and it gets especially bad right here, just inside the clean out. Only once you go in, out to a couple feet here, it dissipates some, but there's about 2 inches of standing water here at this spot, which is very significant with cast iron pipe. You can see all the debris that's swirling around the water there. So I recommend the main line of the house be replaced out to the main lateral connection in the street, and then the drains underneath the floor most likely look like this throughout. I can't reverse the camera and go back the other direction. And then again, I know I've said it a bunch of times, but there is another main line, 4-inch main line in the house that I don't have access to. So it could require some repair guys to come out here and come up with a repair solution for this.